And we're back again here at Trackside Northeast. I'm your host, Joe Cortese. The countdown to November 2nd is on, ladies and gentlemen. We are inching closer and closer to crowning a champion for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series. All right, so we have a lot to get to today. We have interviews with Ken Bouchard, Megan Fuller, as well as we're going to hear from Denny Hamlin, the winner at Las Vegas over the weekend. What a race it was. And, you know, we have these times and moments in NASCAR where we talk about community, family coming together, and there's always rivalries, and there's, you know, the villains and the heroes. And Denny Hamlin throughout his career has been labeled a villain a majority of the time. He likes to clap back at the fans. He loves it, though. It's that intensity. But, you know, that win was very emotional for him. If you ever get a chance, and this is going to be a separate interview from his actual post-race interview on the track, but, you know, Denny was talking about he wasn't going to give, I can't say the word, but he wasn't going to give anything back to the fans who were booing him when he came around to win. And, you know, his father, we're slowly learning that, this was new to me, that he's going through some health issues. And, you know, he got very emotional. He got that 60th win of his career, 6th time this year. And, you know, all for nothing. I mean, you hate him or you love him, you see that raw emotion of a driver, and you can't help but feel, you know, happy for him. You know, his father, who is going through some health issues, and we pray that he gets better and everything. But, you know, he seemed very emotional after the race and talking about what it meant for him to win. But this is another different interview we had after Victory Lane that we're going to hear from Denny Hamlin in just a minute. But, you know, he secured himself into the Final Four. November 2nd is going to be that final race in Phoenix. But we have to go through Talladega this weekend, which I'm sure everyone is excited about. But we also have to go through Martinsville. But he has secured himself into the top 4. So let's take a listen to what Denny Hamlin had to say after the race in Victory Lane.
Congratulations on winning in Las Vegas. Tire changes down the stretch seemed to be the key, didn't it? For you it was.
I mean, truthfully, it's not been that long ago. I haven't even got to see what happened. I don't know what transpired over those last 10 laps, but I know that we had 4 tires. We were racing Larson that had 4 tires as well. I just made the right moves every time. It just seemed like it really worked out. Then we chased down Chase Briscoe pretty quickly, and I tell you, this car is just really, really fast at the end. They dialed it in perfectly, and man, I was happy to drive it home.
Vegas doesn't have big crashes, but it did have a big wreck behind you, pretty much behind you. You escaped that, didn't you? You had to, for the most part.
Yeah, it was right beside me on the outside, and so I couldn't believe that. That was really a key moment, because we went from kind of restarting about 10th to moving up to 6th after that wreck. So that allowed me a little bit more clean air and able to get the jump on those guys there at the end.
2 wins for Joe Gibb Racing this weekend, by the way. Eric Almirola wins the Xfinity, and you this one. That has to certainly help you guys when you think moving forward.
It did, no doubt about it, and I just so proud of our race team, and being with Gibbs all of my career. It's just it doesn't happen often anymore, and so I got to give a lot of credit to them for giving me those fast cars.
Talladega next, super speedway. Your thoughts on that race?
Not even thinking about it. I'm going to take tomorrow off. We got 2 weeks now to kind of prepare for Phoenix and go try to get that championship.
Oh, time will tell. Time will tell. Now, we didn't get a chance to see the actual emotion he had right after, but, he got a chance to talk about it. He said hi to his father and family back home. And, you got to give him credit. I was happy to see him win. I'm not the biggest Denny Hamlin fan, but I was happy to see him finally get a win, because he's been missing that championship. And that is the one thing that any race fan talks about, whether it's somebody at the highest level or all the way down to the short tracks, all the way throughout the Northeast, is we talk about the one thing he's missing, and that is the championship. So let's transition a little bit. He definitely got Larson's number on that final lap over there, held him off, and he seems to come out on top a lot of the times when he's battling with Larson. I believe it was the 8th time it came down to them neck and neck in the final lap or two, and Hamlin comes out on top. But we've got a preview over here for Talladega, our partners down at CBS 42. They had a nice preview, and I guess there's camping. People are getting set up, and apparently there's some glamping this year, which I've done before. I prefer the camping side, bugs, fire, smoke, all that stuff. But let's get a little preview of Talladega coming up this week.
It ends on Sunday night.
70-year-old Lee Smith has been coming to Talladega off and on for about 20 years. The North Carolina resident who arrived at the North Park campground on Monday has race week down to a science.
You just take these leads.
From setting up solar panels,
We do all our cooking outside.
to meal preparation, to flying the Dega flag right next to the red, white, and blue. Smith is ready for race week. The 2.66-mile-long Talladega Superspeedway is the largest oval on the NASCAR schedule.
It's just a unique experience that you don't see anywhere else.
Over in the West Park Sea camping area, dinner preparations are underway.
It's just a pasta salad with Italian dressing. My good old Italian dressing from Aldi's.
Margie Lee from Pensacola says race week is also a chance for good friends to meet up and enjoy great food and fellowship.
We hang out, we play cornhole, we have bonfires, well, as big as we can get. We bring our dogs. We have a good time.
We got flat top here, plus the grill, and another flat top.
Steve Dahlberg of Pensacola oversees the meal planning.
I like the racing, but this hanging out with 30 friends is the best part. So there's no doubt about it.
That is on the bucket list to go to, Dega. I've never been. I've been down to Daytona numerous times, up to New Hampshire, and Dega is definitely one that. And now, if I want to go there too, I need the full experience. I need a camper full of red meat, a lot of different Coca-Colas and sodas, and the adult beverages you mix in between those. But hey, we got a lot going on today. We have a lot going on this week. The race is really amplifying, but that was actually Amy Heibels with our partners down at CBS 42. So she'll have more content throughout the week. It'll also be on 12 News. I believe one of our producers, Bill Tomlinson, is putting in the news show today. So a lot to get to, a lot of things to talk about. So we're going to come back after this, after a quick break. We're going to. I got a chance to sit down with Ken Bouchard, and Meg Fuller over at the Westboro reunion. I got a chance to talk to them a little bit about, their careers, what's going on, and it's nice little interviews. We got a chance to get out of the studio for once. We're trying to do that a little bit more and get out to some of these folks who, are involved in the racing community and hear their thoughts. So we'll be back in less than 2 minutes with more from Trackside Northeast. Back again here at Trackside Northeast. I'm your host, Joe Cortese. All right, let's get right over to the Ken Bouchard interview. I got a chance. I've known the Bouchards my entire life. Good family friends with the Summers, and they're like a second family to me. And, one tidbit I wanted to say before we get into this interview is it's been a while since I've seen a lot of the Bouchards. I mean, I got a chance to see Ronnie's son, Chad, and I see Paula a lot. But, they're a big family. And for once, when I got a chance to sit down at Westboro and talk to Ken, it was like, man, I felt like I hadn't seen him in forever. And, time and time again, I feel like the older I get, the more I understand that, time goes by a lot quicker. So when you get those opportunities to go out and see people that were close friends or family, I mean, it really does. Time does speed up the older you get. So if you get that opportunity, get out and talk to them. But Ken was great to talk to. He started in the Winston Cup in, I believe it was 1987, and he raced in the Modified Series. He actually was, I believe he was voted on NASCAR's Modified's 50th. I think it was the greatest drivers of all time, but I'll double check on that before we come back. But take a listen to what me and Ken got a chance to talk to. A couple different things. We talked about his racing career, seeing all the fans over at the Westboro reunion, and also has some advice for some of the younger drivers out there. Years, you get a chance to see all these people, and whether they're fans, friends, or just people who love to see you race. How does that make you feel going through this?
Yeah, it feels great. It's always nice to see old fans and a lot of friends, a lot of people that helped us with the race cars during the years. So it's always good to stay in touch.
And when you so how much does it take to move all this stuff? You get a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, it's not too bad. We get together. My brother-in-law, Burgie, does most of all the stuff with the trucks, cars. So we all pitch in and help, my sister and everybody. It goes pretty smooth.
Now, looking back on it, when you get a chance to talk to some of these fans and people around, I mean, do memories come up that you tend to forget about over your longevity of your career?
Yeah, there's some memories you want to forget about. We've had some rough races here and there, but most of the time it's always been good. We seem to get along with everybody pretty much all the way through. Can't keep everybody happy, though.
I love to see it as, 31 years old. I've only lived a short life, but I see the generations in the family, and I get a chance to talk to them. And why do you think racing is such a generational and family thing?
I don't really know why. It's just it's a good connection for the family. People, the kids get to go in the grandstand and eat popcorn and have fun and run around, chase each other in the back of the stands. I mean, we used to play in the back of the grandstands at Brookline Speedway down the bank and slide down each other down the bank and have fun. And it was always a fun thing that you wait till next Saturday you're going to get to see everybody again.
Absolutely. So it was kind of like weekly supper, kind of like Sunday dinner when everyone knows they were going to the track and they'd go hang out, and you get a chance to make those memories.
True, and that's, it's just good memories. The families are always good. Just keeps growing and growing and growing as far as I can see. I don't see no end to it.
Yeah, and it really does keep growing. I mean, social media and everything we have going on. So one question I have for you, you got a young driver around and a kid. What piece of advice would you give him that you learned over your career that you wish you would have known a little sooner?
Well, I kind of knew right from the beginning that if you're going to try to get in this sport, you need to really understand and know the cars. Even if it's going to your friend's garage next door and sweeping the floor to start. You got to work your way up in, and you should understand your cars and be able to build them. And those seem to me like those are the best drivers out there because they can help the crew chief set the car up, get everything done, and get along with the crew because you've been there and done it. So it's to me it's just an important thing where the driver knows it can work on the car and do it.
Do you think that contributes to when you get the opportunity, like what's going on in the car when something goes wrong, or does it help when you get a chance to work on the car that you kind of feel it during the race and maybe you can help answer questions as opposed to somebody who just is there to drive?
Absolutely, because there's a lot of drivers out there that don't know the thing about working on the car. We had a driver, Al Becker, when we first started. When I wasn't old enough to drive, we owned a car together, and he never really worked on the car. He didn't understand anything about it, but he could drive the wheels off it. But you had to make sure the car was right for him, and it's hard to get the car to handle real good when you don't have a lot of input from the driver. It makes it a lot easier for everybody, and everybody understands it and get the car going better. That which is the bottom line, for the end of the night when the feature comes.
All right, so the last question I have for you. Over the time and career, what's some of the bigger changes you're seeing around the sport, whether it's all the way to the Cup or down to the wheel modifieds, every level? What's the biggest difference you've seen over your years, and what's changed? Good, bad, anything in between?
Oh boy, there's a lot of stuff I guess that goes on. NASCAR's been trying to fix some stuff now. Lately, I going to the races and watch the modifieds or the Busch cars or the Cup cars, even whatever. Just seems like it's more like follow the leader now with the way the cars are. Nowadays, we used to run, be 2-3 wide all the time. A lot of passing. They start you in the rear of the race, 30 lap, and you had to, hurry up and get to the front, because if you wanted to try to win, But it just seems like they need to do something to get that more of that excitement, a lot of passing and changing, and hopefully I hear they're trying to work on that, make some changes for next year.
That was Ken Bouchard. Man, it was like a flashback. So Kenny used to run a driving class, or school, I should say, down at Thompson. And quick little tidbit before we go to the break. So my parents put me in a car when I was 16 years old, gave me a little shot and had me drive around. And this was after I accidentally ran over my grandfather, George Summers, with a go-kart when I was little. That was their first mistake. He had a nasty infection on his leg, but I'll never forget that. I get reminded of it constantly. But Ken put me in the car, had a couple laps around the track. It was one of my... I believe it was a birthday or Christmas combination present, but it was funny. Towards the end, my parents were like, all right, you have a decision to make, Joe. Like, you go to college, play some baseball, which I ended up doing, or, you go into racing. And they explained to me really young, it's a full-time commitment. There's so much that goes into it. So, for better or for worse, I ended up choosing the other side of baseball things and stayed on the diamond instead of racing around. But man, that was one of the best experiences. And I know there's different experiences around that you can hop in a car and drive around. I believe there's one over in Pawtucket. I know one of Junior's brothers or cousins does one as well, Jeffrey Earnhardt. But it's one of those things that the Bouchards are very close to me. I remember I've been going to Daytona for years with my grandmother. We go down there as a family. We go see the 500, and Paula, Ronnie's wife, also known as Rosie. I mean, Paula, I got to give hats off to you. You've been the greatest person to me ever. I mean, I showed up. She'd always have a little Valentine's Day, because, it's around Valentine's Day when Daytona races in February. She'd always have a little Valentine's Day card and a gift. And, they were very big influences in my life. And same with Ronnie. And unfortunately, unfortunately, Ronnie did pass away years ago, and but his museum still lives on. And this is what we try to do with this show: is we continue to bring in different stories from around the Northeast and different legacies and build off of them, because it is a community and it is a family-oriented sport, and there's just a different type of connection than you see than any other sport that you get a chance to watch. So hats off. Thank you to the Bouchards for everything you've done for me and my family, and everything you've done for the sport of racing. And I can say the same for, my grandmother, Paula, everybody. So we'll come back in less than 2 minutes. We have an interview with Meg Fuller, and then we'll take a look at what's to expect this weekend with Dega right around the corner. I can't wait for the big one. It's going to be wild. We'll be right back. All right, we're back again. Let's get right over to Meg Fuller, the Stafford Motor Speedway champion this year. She is the third female driver to win the division's history, and 10-time winner at Stafford. She is actually the daughter of 1993 NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour champion Rick Fuller, and Megan was awesome. We saw her at the reunion in Westboro a couple weeks ago and got a chance to talk about her racing, and I really would love to get her into the show. I've reached out to her a little bit, trying to get some scheduling, but I would love to go a little more in-depth, but we had a conversation right over Westboro a couple weeks ago, so take a listen to what she had to say.
A little bit?
So we came into the weekend at Stafford, 14 points in the lead for the championship. We knew if the kid Nick Hovey in second finished the race in first, we had to finish seventh to win the championship. So we went out there with that in our mind. I knew we had a good car. I knew we had a car to win, but I just wanted to finish where I needed to. And we won the championship by 4 points.
So how was the reaction at the end? Did you know it right away, or did you kind of just see your team all get excited? Like, how'd you feel going into it?
I knew where I was on the track, and I knew even if I let one of the cars pass me coming to the line on the outside, I knew I would still finish in sixth, so that was still 2 more points than I would have needed to win the championship. So I knew right away, but it still hasn't sunk in, and it's Sunday, so.
It's one of those things that I think it takes some time, right? Like, you go throughout the entire season and you get all the excitement at the top, but then it's like, did that really happen, or was it a dream?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was excited. Obviously, I did all the interviews, all the pictures, and I'm still excited. It just hasn't set in yet. It just doesn't feel real.
Hey, that's a good thing, though, because then by the time you hit next year, then it'll set in. You'll keep going for more and more. So let's backtrack a little bit and have a conversation about how you started racing. Where did the love come from? Where is the desire? What keeps you going?
So my dad and my uncles grew up racing. My dad got my brother into racing quarter midgets down at Little T, and he was selling one of my brother's cars, and so I would take the for sale sign off the car, and I'd run and I'd hide it, and I'd keep telling him that it was my car, and he'd keep telling me no, no, no. But he told me, since I was so persistent, he knew it was something that I would stick with in comparison to any other sport I ever did as a kid. So he finally let me do it, and we moved up to limited sportsman's, and then once we moved further into modified racing, he told me if I wanted to do it, I had to find the money, and I've done it since. I've found the money since I started in limited sportsman. So.
Awesome. That's awesome. So it took a little bit of convincing. You had to, go out in your own way. But once you finally got in the car, did you have a goal set up in your mind of exactly what you want to do, or at that point were you just excited to get in the car and get rolling?
I was just excited to be in the car and be rolling, and it was something that, I didn't get nervous doing. I just felt at peace in the car no matter what. And this past Friday was the first time I've ever felt nauseous going into a race. But we had an unfortunate event in street stocks in 2020. We lost the championship coming to the checkers. We got spun out, so it was a couple hundred feet from the line. So I knew it wasn't over until I crossed the start-finish line, and so I was pretty nervous going into it.
Absolutely. Nerves are good, though, during that time. But, I mean, also traumatic when you deal with something right before you were like, oh, we were 100 feet away and we almost had it. But, hey, when you come into this and you get a chance to come out here and see the people or talk to the fans throughout the season, how does it feel when you go throughout that? How does it feel being a woman driver in more of a male-dominated sport? But how does that make you feel being able to come in, also win a championship, and have the support of the local fans and everyone around you?
I love it. I love all the fans. I love doing autograph signings. I love hearing the stories. I had some nice man come up to me, and he thanked me because I got his daughter into racing, so now he can come to the track every week. And it's little stories like that, or like grown women that aspire to be like me, and I'm younger than them, so they always tell me they want to be like me when they grow up. And I put pride in how I present myself in front of the camera, and on the track. I drive everyone with respect, and I want to earn everyone's respect. So I think I deserve to be in the position I'm in.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so we're going to go back a little bit farther. When you were first starting out, there's a lot of questions and a lot of things that you want to learn. So what advice would you give to somebody in your position, any age, doesn't matter gender, but what advice would you give to them, what you've learned throughout your career now that you wish you kind of knew back then?
Honestly, just never give up. Just always put your mind to it. Don't give up. Don't get frustrated when something doesn't go right. Just take a deep breath and keep going. I don't know. Whenever I get stressed out in the car, I just tighten up my belts. I take a deep breath, and it's my little reset while I'm in the race car going. So what my dad always told me when I was younger, drive it like you stole it. So I definitely did that.
That's the best way. Hey, I think. Drive it like you stole it. That's the best way to do it. It's all you got to do. Well, Megan, it was great talking to you. It was a blast. I mean, I wish we had more time. I only had a set amount of time over Westboro, and time seems to be that concept in life that we just can't buy any more of. And I wish I could buy an extra, 4 to 7 hours each day. Very specific. But we'll be right back in less than 2 minutes. We got a little bit more to go over heading into the Cup Series in Talladega this weekend, and we'll see what's going to happen, and we'll go from there. Oh, wait. Thanks, Jillian. Oh, I don't have to take a break. All right, sweet. We can keep rolling. Let's go. All right, let's go right over to the standings, though. Let's take a look. Oh, man, see, this is what happens. Time gets all mixed up, and then all of a sudden I'm sitting here, and I'm like, oh, we're on the third segment already. All right, let's get right over to here. So Denny Hamlin, he secures his spot into the Final Four up here. You got Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell. Larson's sitting pretty up there with plus 35, but it's really going to come down to these bottom 6 drivers, I'd say, below Hamlin and Larson, unless something dramatically changes for Larson going into Talladega, which we've all seen it before, and that big one, I mean, it's bound to happen. Everyone's being aggressive. They're getting ready to race, and they're getting ready for that championship run because November 2nd is going to be here before we know it, and they'll be racing for that championship out in Phoenix. So this weekend, we have the Xfinity Series on the CW Dega. It's starting around 3:30 p.m. Coverage is, at least. You'll see some of the younger and brighter stars heading up in the AAA of NASCAR, as I like to call it, with these guys racing around in Dega and the girls fighting for positions. But we've got that, and then Talladega will also be, I believe it's a 2 o'clock start on Sunday. So we have a lot to look forward to, a lot to get to. We've got some other interviews in the books working in. I'm not going to put any names out there right now, but the show's been doing great. I appreciate all the support from everyone. I appreciate all the people messaging me on Facebook and all the other things that have been coming along with this. It's great. Best way to get to me, like I always say, is send an email to me, jcortez@WPRI.com. Those get checked a lot more frequently than social media. Sometimes social media it gets lost, and I always try to get back and answer as much as I can. But shoot me an email if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I always leave everyone with be safe, be well. Most importantly, be kind. Everyone has their own personal battle behind a closed curtain. It's been a blast on this show. We'll be back here again next week. And remember, you can watch any of these episodes on our WPRI 12 Plus TV app. All you have to do is download it on your smart TV. I believe you can download it on the Roku as well as the Fire Sticks as well. And you can see any of the previous interviews we've had throughout the year. Right now, I'm slowly working on a best of, so hopefully we'll have that show come out a little later on in the year, towards the holidays, when things start getting busy and everything. But be safe, be well, most importantly, be kind, everyone, and let's go racing. We'll see you next week.